The following is a special presentation of ABC Sports.
ABC Sports presents, live in its 30th season, the Professional Bowlers Tour. Today, from Randallstown, Maryland, it's a $150,000 Fairlanes Open. Our first match features the 1986 PBA Player of the Year, Walter Ray Williams, Jr. of Stockton, California. He will face fourth-seeded and two-time champion Robert Lawrence of Austin, Texas. That winner will meet a Firestone and Open champion, Del Ballard, Jr. of Richardson, Texas. In the semifinal game, we'll see Norm Duke of Albuquerque, New Mexico, whose last win came in 1983. Our tournament leader is one of three players to have earned the Triple Crown, Pete Weber of Florissant, Missouri. That's our talented field of finalists for today's Professional Bowlers Tour telecast. You're looking at Baltimore Harbor as the Professional Bowlers Tour has once again returned to this Maryland city for the $150,000 Fairlanes Open. Baltimore is also home to the Preakness, the Orioles, and of course, Maryland Crab Cakes. Hello again, I'm Chris Schenkel. Baltimore is the birthplace for the most renowned star in baseball, George Herman Ruth, the Babe, born right here at 216 Emory Street on the second-floor bedroom of his grandfather's house. He started his baseball career right here in Baltimore, moved to the Boston Red Sox, and then to the Yankees in 1920. They built Yankee Stadium just to house the massive crowds that would come to see the Babe hit one out, and he did. Documented beautifully here in the museum, the history of the Babe, of the Orioles, and baseball in this area. It's a must-stop for you to visit. One of the most interesting spots is the wall, which has on it 714 plaques commemorating each of the Babe's home runs. 714. The record held until 74 when Hank Aaron hit his 715th. Okay, there's a big hitter out at Kings Point Fairlanes, my colleague Nelson Burton Jr., so let's join him there now.
Thank you, Chris Schenkel. The Babe was a great baseball player, but he was also a great all-around athlete. He enjoyed 10 pins, and he often played duck pins, a sport played with a smaller ball with smaller pins on a regulation lanes. That sport is indigenous to the Baltimore-Washington area. We're not far from the Babe's home here in Randallstown, Maryland, a brand new center for the PBA and the 22nd Fairlanes Open. Now we're at the halfway point of the PBA season, and a couple of things stand out. One, the equality of the PBA. The conventional players have been getting a piece of the PBA pie, the crankers a good chunk, and the left-handers have won their share. One other standout statistic is the scoring. The scoring is down this year at the halfway point, 5 pins from last year in 1990 and almost 10 pins from 1989. Now we had some good scoring this week, and I see that turning around. Now let's look at the championship field. One of the best we've had all year. Walter Ray Williams, Jr., fourth appearance in the championship round this year, going against the man they say is the toughest clutch bowler on the PBA Tour, Robert Lawrence. The winner of that goes against Del Ballard. Ballard wins the big ones. $47,000 plus is his average first-place paycheck. Norm Duke in the semifinal. The youngster won at 18. He's trying to repeat, get a second victory 8 years later. And finally, in the number one position, the unpredictable Pete Weber. Pete bowled 42 consecutive 200-plus games this week, a PBA record he should be very tough to beat. Now let's look at how the players have attacked the championship pair. This is the first time all year long that we have had synthetic lanes, and they play a little bit different. The PBA has oiled the lanes 30 feet, then down to 45 with fairly heavy oil, dry on the back end. They put a little extra strip of oil in the center, which allows the players to play an extreme outside line. The straight shooters are going down the first arrow. The power players, such as Lawrence, will be playing around the second arrow. Chris, I look for the scoring to pick up, and in 90 minutes, we have one of the best wide world of sports menus coming up.
We do a three-part because an unbeaten and rising young heavyweight star, Riddick Bowe, puts his perfect record on the line against a heavyweight boxer named Terrell Biggs. Plus Herschel Walker, Barry Sanders, Pepper Johnson are among a top NFL field. We begin our coverage of the Jeep Superstars. And a report on the start of the Iditarod Trail sled dog race. That's next. And the winner here today on our live telecast from Maryland, 30,000 of the winner, 15-5, 85, 7, and 6. From Texas, Robert Lawrence. From California, native of that state, Walter Ray Williams, Jr. Shooting first will be the man that finished fourth overall in this field here in the Kings Point area of Randallstown, Maryland, Robert Lawrence. 28 years old, 2 titles in his 10-year career. Good stylist. Although that's a terrible way to be greeted in the first shot.
The 2-4-10, a rather difficult split, but he can make this. He can get the ball over on the left-hand side of the 2-pin, slide it into the 10. That's how you convert it.
What a lesson each week on our telecast in the conversion of splits.
Super shot, drives the 2-pin against the sideboard, takes out the 10. He's got to like it.
Here's the 1986 PBA Player of the Year, Walter Ray Williams, Jr. All but the 7-pin for the man who has the high average thus far in the entire PBA touring group at 220.7. And he made our first 2 telecasts here in 91, second at Erie to Jess Stayrup last week, second at AC Delco, and third at Showboat. Walter Ray is wearing a mic. Usually he's pretty quiet, but he always has that Errol Flynn-like smile.
Kind of a wry grin that time. He missed 3 spares in last week's championship round at the Flagship Open in Erie, and he was voted the best spare shooter on the Pro Bowlers Tour, so he took some chiding about it last week.
Oh, come on.
And that isn't fair. That shouldn't happen. The first man to win his title right here in Maryland, that was back in 1986.
Chris, another makeable split similar to what Lawrence had, but it's on the other side. He's got to get the ball in the 3-6 zone and drive the 3 into the 4, and he's got to be a little bit lucky with the 7-pin.
So it's an open frame for Walter Ray Williams, who has had some problems. He, in his last 20 telecasts, in his career, he's had 12 second place finishes. Can you imagine? 7th TV appearance overall for Lawrence. Strike up. Spare, rather. And here we get a John Mazza 710.
Well, they're off to a shaky start, to say the least. Nobody's even really close to getting a strike, and obviously we've seen this made by Mazza a couple of weeks ago at the Florida Open. Lawrence is going to opt to shoot the ball over in the 10 and hope to bounce it out.
Well, at least we've got a close match, Bill.
Unusual score for Walter Ray Williams, 22 in the second. Things have to get better. The players on this pair averaged quite well. As far as Lawrence went, he averaged 242 for his 2 games he bowled during the week on this pair, and Walter Ray Williams Jr. 232, so the potential is there.
Robert Lawrence, who has a sister named Pam, a member of the Ladies Professional Bowlers Tour. Regional now, but hopes to go out full time.
Lawrence changing balls for the spare shot. A higher surface friction ball to cut down the hook, hopefully to control it cross lane for the 10.
Five pins separating our 2 professionals, and if you just joined us, Walter Ray Williams seated 5th, Robert Lawrence, at whom you're looking, 4th, and the winner of this game will meet a Masters, Firestone, and Open champion named Del Ballard of Texas. Let's replay that shot.
Walter with a lot of natural athletic ability. 5-step delivery. You see his swing moving around a little bit. Now watch him swing it inside out, right down the first arrow. Perfect shot. All 10 pins in the pit. Trails by 5, could take the lead with a double here in the 4th.
Come on, carry.
Got his wish. And, of course, that puts Walter Ray Williams into the lead by 5 pins here in our very first match. Randallstown, Maryland, Fairlanes, Kings Point.
Fact: Ford Thunderbird, Bronco, Mustang, Ranger, and F-Series pickup are all the best-selling vehicles in their class. Fact: the new Ford Escort is the best-selling small car in America. Fact: the new Ford Explorer is already outselling all of its competition. Call it leadership, call it winning, call it anything you want. The simple fact is, Ford is #1. Save now during Leadership Month at your Ford dealer.
Extra strength Rolaids antacids. Stronger because it has more calcium carbonate. More than any Tums tablet. Extra strength Rolaids. 1,000 milligrams of calcium carbonate and salt-free. This settles it once and for all.
Only one antiperspirant in the world helps keep you so dry with the cool, clean scent of Old Spice. Only one deodorant in the world has so many odor-fighting ingredients with the cool, clean scent of Old Spice. There's only one Old Spice.
Yes, we're back again at a beautiful new bowling establishment of 40 lanes, Fairlanes, Kings Point, one of 112 facilities in the United States and Puerto Rico. PBA Tour stopping here, our 8th stop, halfway point of the Winter Tour of 16. Robert Lawrence, spare up, shooting in the 4th frame. All right. First strike of this first game, and a profile replay, Nelson.
Lawrence, an ideal contemporary style. 5-step deliveries. You can see how far left he is on the approach. The high back swing. Terrific inside-out swing. Look at the snap on this bowling ball. And remember, we're using synthetic bowling lanes on a PBA maintenance lane condition. So when the ball is in the oil area, the first 30 feet, it'll slide more than on regular wood lanes. And then on the dry area, the surface friction of synthetics is a little higher, so it'll hook a little more than normal. So interesting shot.
Seesaw battle here in Maryland. So with that double, Lawrence regains the lead by 5 pins, but that can change now as Williams double up, shooting in frame 5.
Williams, the full grip, just the first knuckle into the ball. Ideal conventional style.
There's the leader, whom we asked earlier what goes through your mind, Walter Ray, during a championship round appearance like today.
Well, when I step on the approach, I basically think about looking at my target and just concentrating on hitting that target, getting a good follow-through, and that's the job I need to do today.
You know, and Chris, he told me one thing he uses is he keeps his eyes on the target till the ball is well down the lane. Good practice.
His own cheerleader. Minimum of words, though. Just one powerful one, as you just heard.
Solid 10. He missed this spare last week in Erie. Didn't cost him the match, but I saw him practicing it before we went on the air. He had a half-hour practice on a championship pair. Took a lot of spare shots.
Good. Okay. He's doing commentary on each of his shots now. Nice going, Walter Ray.
Well, I teased him a little bit about being voted the best spare shooter on the tour in 1990. You can't make him in a championship round, so he's taking it to heart and having a little fun with it.
Now Lawrence with a double working, shooting in the 6th frame. So now he is back in the lead. We asked him what his mindset was when he appears in a championship round.
Well, I just try to relax my body. When I step up on the approach, I take a deep breath and blow it all out and try to relax my whole body so that I make a good loose shot.
Okay. Good tip for all of our league bowlers.
Anytime under pressure, and you can see where Lawrence is playing the deep inside line. He'll drift slightly to the right over the second arrow. He leads by 6.
Robert Lawrence, who's first title was a Bowler's Journey, Florida Open, national scratch champion in 1990. We'll be back.
To get rid of her gray, my wife can spend 40 minutes. But I discovered this 5-minute hair coloring.
The revolutionary discovery called Just for Men from the leader in men's hair coloring. Simply apply Just for Men and in 5 minutes shampoo out.
Gray is blended away. The look of my natural color is back in 5 minutes. That was me, and it won't fade or wash out.
My hair takes forever, but you look great in just 5 minutes.
The look of your natural color in just 5 minutes with Just for Men.
Shine a light on you, shine a light on me. Keep your Bud Light shining for everyone to see.
When you're looking good, you want Bud Light. The clean, fresh taste won't fill you up and never let you down.
You can taste it, you can feel it. You know you got it right. 'Cause everything else is just a light. Just keep your Bud Light shining. Everything else is just a light. You got to shine on. Everything else is just a light.
Undefeated Riddick Bowe battles Terrell Biggs in a heavyweight showdown live. Plus the start of the Jeep Superstars. All next on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Back again, Fairlanes, Kings Point, Randallstown, Maryland, for the Fairlanes Open. Here is a 4-time World Horseshoe pitching champion, Walter Ray Williams, with a spare up trailing by 16, shooting in the 7th frame, first game.
Come on, carry.
Okay. Walter Ray was also a 3-time junior champion. Bo?
Thank you, Chris. Del Ballard, looks like Lawrence has a good chance of winning his match. He's your buddy, he's your roommate, and he says he just wants a piece of your body. You looked easy.
Well, just let him throw a Brooklyn, see how good of friends we are, on TV. When I step on the approach, I don't have any friends, so we'll see what happens.
Well, he says you dog it sometimes. What do you have to say about that?
Well, look at that mustache, Hey, there's some Barker there, too.
All right, back to you, Chris.
Yes, as Dell said, humor off the lanes. Not so when they're up there shooting for what today will be the $30,000 first prize. Speaking of mustaches, well, we have a few here today. All right, and Walter Ray continues spare shooting with the spare there in the 8th frame. Meanwhile, his opponent from Austin, Texas, U of T hometown. He has 4 in a row, shooting in the 8th. Take a big lead here, Bo.
Right, big shot here. He can really put Walter Ray Williams on the ropes.
Slid by. He has left the 2 and the 10.
Pretty slick lane condition. This is the same shot he made in the first frame, just minus the 4-pin. He has to just do the same thing. Get the ball to the left of the 2-pin, drive it over into the 10. He can either take it off the sideboard or into the 10. Here's the action.
Trying for his second conversion in the very first frame. He was successful, and would you believe it? We have an even match in our first game. Nelson?
Debatable shot, Chris. When you have that double up, every time you lose a pin, it becomes 2 on the scoreboard. I think a little more experienced player would have hedged his action by just at least making sure he got the 2-pin and maintained that lead. Now it's all even. 2 frames left.
That looked like a standing 10 is gone, and it's a foundation strike.
The action of the 6-pin, that's the key pin. Right-hand part of your screen, 2nd pin.
Good eyes, he's called because of his World Championship horseshoe pitching. Comes through in a strike in the 9th. You know, in 1989, Bo, he went to the White House and helped President George Bush dedicate a new horseshoe pitching court.
I know a friend of mine, Bill Courtright, who's from St. Louis, who makes his Deadeye horseshoes for him, gave me a pair of brass ones. He presented them to George Bush, but right now he'd like to present himself with a strike. The match is all even, 10th frame.
Walter Ray, who had a three-bagger in midpoint of the match. Now he is strung too late when it really counts, as Del Ballard, the next opponent, keeps warming up off to our right. You hear pinfall occasionally.
Well, the match is in favor of Walter Ray Williams right now. The best he can shoot is .221. He cannot shut out Robert Lawrence. Remember, Lawrence was voted by his fellow members as the Clutch Player of the Year in 1990. He'll have to prove it again here in 91. Walter Ray, 11th frame.
Come on, carry.
Walter Ray has not won since Edmond, Oklahoma in 1987. 30th television appearance for the star. Concentrating, checking, overhead, score sheet.
Walter, looking at those pins, he wants to make sure everyone is on spot. All 10 pins, an equidistant, equilateral triangle on 12-inch centers. He needs to knock all 10 down to guarantee himself at least a tie. Wouldn't have made much difference where those pins were set up that time, Chris, as he gets 6 on his last count. 217, he's put Lawrence on the spot. Yes. Lawrence needs 2 strikes and 7 to win. Anything less, it's Walter Ray Williams Jr.'s match.
Positioning himself carefully, left of center. Robert Lawrence, right lane.
One of the most admirable qualities in a professional athlete, and absolutely a must in professional bowling, is the ability to perform in the clutch. The talents are so equal out here that if you can't perform under pressure in the 9th and 10th frames, you will soon leave the tour. Both these players have done quite well so far. Lawrence needs 1 more strike and 7 to win.
Walter Ray is finished at 217.
His thoughts about that final shot where he got 6 pins has opened the door for Robert Lawrence. Lawrence with 7 or better would meet his roommate, Del Ballard Jr., in the second match.
Made it by 1. Made it by... Make it by 2. He won by 2, 219 to 217. ABC Sports presentation, Professional Bowlers Tour, will return after this message and a word from our ABC station.
Freedent's the one. Only one gum leads the way when you've got dental work, and that's Freedent. Freedent won't stick to your dental work, so you can be confident chewing it. And because it also moistens your mouth and freshens your breath, Freedent's in a class by itself.
Freedent's the one that took the stick out of gum, and Freedent moistens your mouth. Yeah, moistens your mouth and freshens your breath while you chew.
Non-stick Freedent moistens your mouth and freshens your breath.
I think you're doing that, but I don't know, right one. Okay, that's fine.
Power, control. It's what makes us excel beyond others. Power Stick Antiperspirant. It excels. 50% more power per stroke. 50% more odor in wetness fighters. 24-hour protection. 24-hour control that lasts long after ordinary deodorant sticks start losing speed. All day, all night. Power Stick. The power that puts you in control.
Monday, Cindy's a dating disaster. Can a dead prom queen bring her some heavenly help? Earth Angel, Monday.
AT&T presents Johnny Mathis Live. 5 incredible shows, March 6th through 10th at the Fox Theater.
It's not for me to say.
Johnny Mathis.
Look at me. Chances are
WJOI welcomes the special nights.
Silly grin.
Tickets now at the Fox box office, Ticketmaster, or charge by phone. March 6th through 10th at the Fox. 5 nights of musical memories. with Johnny Mathis.
Sometimes homework can be a little hard to handle. Even though your parents want to help, they're not always able to. That's when you should call the Homework Hotline and get help from a certified teacher. Chrysler wants you to take advantage of the Homework Hotline because while doing your homework is a big deal, it doesn't have to be a big problem.
It's a Big Ten basketball doubleheader Sunday at 2 on 7.
The Pro Bowlers Tour, brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Crest, the dentist choice for fighting cavities, Crest with Fluorostat. And by the makers of Tums, the sodium-free antacid that's rich in calcium.
And here in Randallstown, Maryland, in the Fairlanes Open, match 1 is ended. Robert Lawrence defeating Walter Ray Williams, Jr., 219 to 217. Robert with 7 strikes. His opponent, his roommate, Del Ballard, next. Let's learn more about Robert from Austin, Texas, up close and personal.
I like to spend a lot of time fishing at the lake. Whoever I can get to go, I'd like to go more often, even when I'm on the road, but it's fun. We got plenty of lakes around here and plenty of places to choose to go fishing, and that's real relaxing for me.
Robert Lawrence had a successful year in 1990 as he made over $130,000, money he put to good use.
Well, the money I've made in the past few years was new to me, and I wasn't used to saving money in the past. I never could, it seemed like, so I made some good investments, I feel like. I bought in some stocks and some bonds and CDs and a couple of IRAs, and feel like I'm setting myself up for the future pretty good. I want to have something left when this bowling career is over.
Robert can also look forward to spending time with daughter Michelle.
It seems like since my daughter was born, everything turned around for me. There was more to life than just bowling. My daughter was fun to come home to and play with, and my whole outlook on everything in general just got better. And that made my attitude a lot better at the game. I enjoy the game. I believe when I quit enjoying it is when I will quit bowling, but my attitude and my mental part of my game, I think, could keep me successful for years to come.
Yes, Robert Lawrence. There he is in Maryland, winning that first match over Walter Ray Williams, Jr., which was quite a hurdle, 219 to 217 with 7 strikes. Now it's opponent, Firestone and Open champion, Del Ballard, also a Masters champion. Lots of experience, 5 titles, 9 years. Robert's been a member, PBA for 10, hasn't been out full-time all that 10. Rumi puts the pressure on Del Ballard immediately.
Yeah, he's really loosened up, Chris. He looks really, really good. And Ballard only averaged 188 for his 3 games this week on the championship pair as opposed to 242 against Lawrence. So big advantage for Lawrence in this match.
Del got it. Wanting it to hook, and it did. He won the Firestone in 1989, and last year he was 3rd.
A style very similar to Marshall Holman. Very low profile, not much head movement, medium-high swing, cupped wrist, a long slide, and a good high follow-through. Del Ballard, when he's on his game, is as tough as anybody we have on tour. And he likes the big ones.
Had one of 4 300s here this week. And hit 210.
Well, we've seen that shot 3 times already. And we saw Lawrence make it, so all he has to do is get over here, follow the example of Lawrence, get over here in the 2-pin zone, drive that 2-pin either against the wall or directly into the 10 to convert the split. About a 3-to-1 shot for the pros.
So it's an open frame for Del Ballard of Richardson, Texas, going against another Lone Star State professional, Robert Lawrence. Strike up, 2nd frame. in the pocket. Next week, honoring former president of the PBA, Johnny Petraglia, who's still out on tour, we go to the state of New Jersey, to North Brunswick. Our first visit there, and we look forward to it. 3 Eastern Pacific, 2 Central.
Lawrence, the full grip, using finger grippers, has a thumb hole with reverse pitch to get out of it very quickly. That's pitch away from the center. Uses tight thumb hole, the big hook.
3 in a row.
Watch the action of third pin on the left-hand part of your screen. We don't see this very often with the big hook ball players. The 2-pin into the sideboard. Love taps the 4 out. He's got Ballard, his roommate, on the ropes in the early going. Third frame.
Didn't get the 10-pin. Winner of this game, this is our second in Maryland, will be Norman Duke, and then, of course, Pete Weber. 5 perfect 300 games on our ABC telecasts over the 30 years. Del Ballard says this. Del Ballard of Richardson, Texas, muscle car fan, as I am, and he also is a proud owner, though, of a Shelby Mustang GT500, a 67.
You can see where Ballard's playing in the lanes. He's going to slide in this area, start the ball over the second arrow, playing the big hook.
Okay, got a break. Got a break. We're in Randallstown, Maryland. The Fairlanes Kings Point. We'll be back.
Heartburn? You know what to do about that.
But what if it's heartburn plus gas?
Well, now comes Tums Plus. Calcium-rich antacid relief plus gas-busting simethicone.
No other antacid gives you that.
No, sir. To get rid of heartburn plus gas, don't get caught minus. New Tums Plus.
Fact. Right now, your Ford dealer can offer you dealer incentives and option packages that can save you thousands. Fact. Savings on the best-built, best-selling American cars and trucks. Call it leadership. Call it winning. Call it anything you want. The simple fact is, Ford is #1. Get all the facts and all the savings during Leadership Month at your Ford dealer now.
One of bowling's all-time greats is your host as the game's high rollers head to New Jersey. It's the Johnny Petraglia Open on ABC's Pro Bowlers Tour next Saturday.
The Professional Bowlers Tour has been coming to the state of Maryland for over 20 years, and always a capacity crowd when we hit the various houses owned by Fairlanes Corporation. This is their Kings Point new facility. Last year it was Woodlawn. Robert Lawrence, for the second time today, comes up with a 210. Robert was 4th at Woodlawn a year ago. Now, Robert opened the second game after his victory over Walter Ray Williams Jr. with 3 in a row. Had this before, and he made it a lesson for all of us how to convert. Well, to show you that he could do it again, Bo, perfection.
Thank you, Chris. A great shot there by Robert Lawrence. The second time he's converted that in a championship round. And the man in the semifinal, Norm Duke, another Texan. We have 2 in the match right now. Who's the toughest of the 3 Texans out there, pal?
They're awful tough. Both of them are good, but I taught them both how to bowl.
Okay, the teacher's going to come in and give him another lesson in the semifinal, Chris. We'll see what happens. A good match going right now.
Just so happens Duke is the youngest of the 3. Leaving a 4-8 is Robert Lawrence on the left lane. He won the first game, if you just joined us, over Walter Ray Williams Jr., 219 to 217. He averted a tie. He needed a double and 7 pins. But he got a double and 8. And he's now marking with a spare. Robert Lawrence. Okay, Del Ballard won 3 titles in 1989. First 2, as a matter of fact, were back-to-back.
Ballard with the full grip, the cupped wrist, and a real good snap on the ball. Here she comes.
Yes. Okay, we asked Del what went through his mind during championship round competition.
When I get on the approach, I'm basically having a song go through my head. I like to listen to a lot of rock and roll music, and it goes through my head, and it keeps the outside distractions from bothering me so I can go up and make a good shot.
Chrissy says the Beatles are featured today, so he's playing a whole album if he gets through 3 games. Okay. Let's see what happens.
Come on. Yeah.
All right. There's a 3-bagger for Del Ballard. Started slow this year. Didn't come out for a while because of an injury. But last week he was 8th in Erie, best of the year.
The grip of Lawrence, very interesting. That thumb hole is pitched away from the center of the ball to allow him to get out of it very quickly. It's very tight, so he doesn't have to squeeze the ball. I think that's why he's so good in the pressure.
Leaving only a 6-pin.
Boy, he's gotten shaky here in the last 3 shots. After 3 really good shots to start the match, he had the 2-10 split, the 4-8 light, and he just breaks up the 4-6 split here. Very fortunate after 3 frames in a row in trouble.
Robert Lawrence, who 6 telecasts last year, first this year. Tomorrow, ABC's college basketball and doubleheader. First at 2 Eastern, a Big Ten matchup as Michigan State Spartans take on number 2 nationally, Ohio State. Then at 4, regional coverage, Minnesota meets Michigan, or you'll see 3rd-ranked Arkansas take on their conference rival, Texas Longhorns. Here's one of the Longhorn fans from Austin, Robert Lawrence. We're in the Baltimore Ariel. Historic indeed. A great place to visit. There's so many attractions, so many historical monuments.
There's no dashboard light to warn you. No dipstick to check. Yet when warned, they could cause your car to lose control and braking. Don't find out your shocks and struts are worn by accident. Get your shocks and struts inspected at your Monroe retailer soon. Monroe, your safety could depend on it.
Red Devil enamel. You can always count on its durable finish. Harder than ordinary paints, its beauty lasts and lasts. Red Devil enamel for the finish of a lifetime.
Extra strength Rolaids antacid, stronger because it has more calcium carbonate, more than any Tums tablet. Extra strength Rolaids, 1,000 milligrams of calcium carbonate and salt-free. This settles it once and for all.
Undefeated Riddick Bowe battles Terrell Biggs in a heavyweight showdown live. Plus the start of the Jeep Superstars. All next on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Wide World next, and here you'll next see Robert Lawrence. Shooting here, we had to bowl while you were away because our time slot is 90 minutes and we're behind. Well, what happened, Del Ballard came up with a double, making it 5 in a row to have his lead, but then Robert Lawrence in the 8th with a double now, and the lead is down to 3. Lawrence trailing by 3, but can take the lead here in the 9th frame. Well, these 2 roommates will have a lot to talk about tonight.
Well, Lawrence, he'll start practicing that 2-4-10 split. This is the 4th or 5th time he's had this combination. And this is the exact split on the same lane he opened the telecast. He got the ball in this 2-4 zone, drove that 2 against the sideboard, and took out the 10. He needs to do it now to keep the pressure on Del Ballard.
Well, Del Ballard, the 27-year-old from Richardson, and 28-year-old Robert Lawrence.
How quickly the game can change. Ballard was trailing by 32 pins in the 4th frame. He's now up by 20, can make it 30. 62 pin difference in just 6 frames.
Yes! 6 in a row, Del Ballard.
Watch the long slide of Ballard. He's very smooth on these synthetic lanes and very important to be smooth on the approaches of synthetics that often give players trouble. The power of Ballard as he just ignites all 10 pins, and he has put this match away. Just keep it in the building. He'll go against fellow Texan Norm Duke in the semifinal. Yeah!
So that's 7 in a row for the guy with the Open, the Firestone, and the Masters, to his credit.
When they start throwing strikes on synthetic lane surfaces, Chris, because of the high surface friction in the back end, the smoothness of the lane, they throw some big games. Here we have Ballard with a potential 258.
That's fine.
He'll be in the 240s.
Well, Ballard, fans are showing their appreciation.
Yeah, baby.
The opponent next up, now bowling out of Albuquerque, Norman Duke. So it's time for the tip of the week, and you'll see it as Bo takes a look at the anatomy of a bowling ball. Duke and Ballard next.
ABC Sports Bowling Tip of the Week is brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately?
Today's bowling tip of the week deals with the anatomy of a bowling ball. A bowling ball is constructed in 3 pieces: the core, the top weight section, and the outside shell. This week we're going to deal with just the top weight section. Top weight is put in a bowling ball so that after you drill it, it's still pretty well balanced. If you didn't have top weight, you take out about 3 ounces for the fingers and thumb, it would be a bottom-weighted ball and not bowl very effectively on the lane. So what the American Bowling Congress rules allow is you're allowed to have top weight of as much as 3 ounces after drilling. The more top weight, the more the ball is going to hook. The less top weight, the less hook. What I recommend is to see your pro shop owner, let him match your top weight to your particular bowling style.
Fact, the full-size Ford pickup has more repeat buyers than any other pickup. Fact, the full-size Ford pickup sales lead over Chevy is wider than last year. Fact, our most popular model is priced $600 less than a comparably equipped Chevy. Call it leadership, call it winning, call it anything you want. The simple fact is, Ford is #1. Save now during Leadership Month at your Ford dealer.
All right, how many this time? 8 cavities. 14 cavities? I didn't think I had that many teeth. You're gonna have to drill? My parents will be very upset.
Parents today hope their kids won't have to go through what they went through. Luckily, today's kids use the toothpaste more dentists recommend, Crest. The first toothpaste clinically shown to give you protection down to the root of the tooth.
Another great checkup. Yes. Woo, woo, woo. Later, dude.
Crest, the dentist's choice, is the easy choice.
It's been fun.
For all the places and all the faces that are a part of you, AT&T brings you the Reach Out America plan. With more ways to save than anyone else. No matter who or when or where you call. So long distance feels like no distance. For savings and quality across every mile, we'll help you find the plan that works for you. AT&T, all you need to reach out.
Strike out to score more.
I just can't seem to find the pocket.
Call 1-800-4ABC-VCR and let Bo Burton's instructional home videos, Score More, help you solve your bowling problems.
Here's what the pros do.
Learn Bo's valuable tips on performance, practice techniques, body conditioning, and equipment selection at Score More. Only $24.98 plus $3 shipping. To order Bo's home video, call 1-800-4ABC-VCR.
Arms in the air, that's Robert Lawrence after his first game victory over Walter Ray Williams Jr., 219 to 217. Then his roommate came in, Del Ballard of Richardson. Ballard, 247, Lawrence, 208. So now it's all Texan again. Norm Duke against Ballard here in the beautiful state of Maryland. Fairlane's Kings Point, Randallstown, Maryland. Next week, we go to North Brunswick, New Jersey, and we welcome the Johnny Petraglia Open. Great to honor that left-hander. And then 2 weeks from today, Sayville, New York. First time on Long Island boat for a while. Long Island Open.
Great spot, Chris, and it's been a great tournament we've had here in Maryland. The size of the field, the normal 160. Average game 205, 206 to make the top 24. Pete McCordick just missing. Ron Williams out of a slump. Bob Benoit won a couple weeks ago. There's our Erie champion, Stayrook. Monticelli, the player of the year. Bowers in 11th. Ryan Goebel, we've seen him before. Edwards, a new face. Gwendon 2 weeks in a row. Bellinger, we saw him make the top 5 last week. Another good check. Dave D'Entremont, Bob Warren Jr., the 300 leader with 34 of them to his credit. Charlie Tapp, he's always a delight. LeClaire having a good year. David Husted, Mike Miller, the two-finger man, no thumb, 21st place. Jim Pensek, still 15 wins, no losses. We need to get him in the top 5. Lizzie in 23rd, rounding out the top 24. Vespi, 24th place. We've played 53 places this week, Chris. 2 of the locals finished near the bottom. Mike Lestowski and David Reed rounded out with $980 checks, and we still have the semifinal match with Norm Duke warming up and still practicing. He gets 6 practice shots.
Nelson, the synthetic lanes, how they gleam.
Yes, they do. And sometimes there's a little bit of regular light glare that comes off the center, and I've noticed it when I go on synthetics. Norm Duke had him move a little cloth to the right of the championship area. See, just to the right of the championship area, just to reduce the glare. A little move made by Duke, and he's ready for action.
Norman Duke, who won a title, 18 years of age, youngest ever. That was in '83, hasn't won since. Boy, is he eager. He's bowled well. He's consistent over the years, made a lot of money. .36, Del Ballard, who had that big game against his roommate.
Ballard came out just all charged up against Robert Lawrence. A little laid back on that shot. One thing you got to watch, especially for Ballard, is he stays low all the way to the line. He has that low profile, but if he raises up in that pivot step, he'll often go high with a shot. That was the case in the first frame.
This is our semifinal game, and the winner will meet our tournament leader, who's led from the start, Pete Weber of Florissant, Missouri. Pete with 15 titles in a 12-year career, including the 3 big ones.
Yes.
Powerful shot, though.
Good shot by Ballard there as we see Duke coming up. Norm Duke bowled in league before he came out on the Pro Tour. 1981-82, had a 232 league average. He has a 208 tour average. So you can see there's quite a bit of difference between the lane conditions at home and out here on the tour.
The best thus far this year was 29th in the AC Delco and Torrance.
The man that takes anywhere from 5 to 7 steps. Right here, it looks like a juggled 6.5 step delivery, the high backswing, good strong pivot step, real low at the foul line. I've always liked his style. As you said, Chris, he's a consistent player, but he never has had that championship punch, and he said he can win this week. As you looked at his bowling ball, full of oil, uses the full grip coming up in the 3rd frame.
Third in the 1989 ABC Masters. Norm Duke.
Ballard, also a league player, last year averaged 230 in league, and his tour average, as you look at his approach, was 212. So 18-pin difference between home and out here on the road, as you saw him stick on the approach. Synthetic lanes often, synthetic approaches, Chris, often present problems. And what happens is there's a lot of wear in the center of the lane, and when you get away from it, it gets a little bit slippery or stickery on the outside.
3, 6, 7, 10, Nelson.
Almost dumps it in the moat there as he sends it wide. 3, 6, 7, 10. He had a split similar to this, Chris, when he had the 4-pin in the rack. Needs to slide that 3 over into the 7 zone.
Well, we could make some interesting tip segment videotape, couldn't we, by showing all the conversions thus far this year?
They've made some great shots all year, and here's one of them. Del Ballard Jr. just driving that 3 into the 7. The ball taking out the 6 and 10 pins. He needs to get some strikes here to keep the pressure on Duke.
All right, and Dell with that big strike after a conversion, trailing now by 20 pins. We'll be back.
Dear Thompson,
Honey, I ran out of
midway through waterproofing our new deck, I ran out of Thompson's water seal and finished with another brand. 2 days later, it rained. It was amazing.
Wow.
You could actually see the
side.
Thompson side working. The other side looked like I hadn't used a thing.
Thompson's Water Seal has 50% more active ingredients than most brands for more waterproofing power.
You can see the difference. For my money, nothing tops Thompson's. And I proved it. Sincerely, Marcia Jackalone, Bassett, Wisconsin.
Only one antiperspirant in the world helps keep you so dry with the cool, clean scent of Old Spice. Only one deodorant in the world has so many odor-fighting ingredients with the cool, clean scent of Old Spice. There's only one Old Spice.
How do I know where to get my brakes done right?
Come to Midas. You get a lot of value for the price, plus peace of mind, knowing the job will be done right. That's why more people come to us for brakes, knowing that nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
Number 2 Ohio State looks for revenge against the only team to beat them this season, Michigan State. It's game 1 of an ABC college basketball doubleheader tomorrow.
In our semifinal game here in Maryland, Professional Bowlers Tour, 125-pound Norman Duke using all the approach. 3 in a row, 4th frame. Make it a 4-bagger. Norman Duke, 5 feet 5 inches tall. Okay, Bo.
Thank you, Chris. Tournament leader, Pete Weber. Pete, you're having your best year ever. You've cashed in every single tournament, 6 finals, top 24. And, of course, you ran away with this one. How do you feel going into this last game? 1 game left.
Well, Bo, I've been bowling great all year. I mean, I've hit everything that they've put out. So I'm feeling really good. They're going to have to just come and get me today.
Very confident young man, Chris. A great winner. Is going to be a great final match. Back to you.
And Norman Duke. Can't believe it that the 7-pin remains standing. That broke his string of 4 strikes here in the semifinal game. Norman was seated second coming in. Let's look at it. Look how tentative.
Well, the 4-pin is driven straight back by the 2. He just hit just a pinch high, and he leaves a solid 7. Unfortunate.
Well balanced 7-pin. Norman Duke and Del Ballard. Del has strike up. He can cut it to 19.
Yes.
Oh, could you believe that? It was hesitant on the edge of the channel. Oh.
Well, Dell's mic'd, and you could hear him say yes.
Kiss my ass.
Well, he's a little bit upset, but he got a strike on this one. Sent it wide. Watch the action of the 2-pin. 3rd pin on the left-hand part of your screen between the 4 and the 7s. Trips out that 4. And Ballard a little bit upset, but he has to settle down. He can cut the lead down to 9.
Come on. Come on.
Yeah. All right. Fierce competitor, let me tell you. Whatever he does it with dedication. And he is expressive.
One of the great match game players on the tour. Duke likes the action on the tour, and it likes a little action at home with the local pot games, so he's used to pressure.
Norm Duke coming in the 6th frame with a spare up.
Norm has sped up his play. He was the first man ever fined for violation of the 25-second clock. That's basically a clock that keeps track of when the ball comes back to a player, such as now. A player has 25 seconds with which to initiate a shot. Duke got fined $100 last year in Peoria.
Won his only championship, 1983, Cleveland Open. Bowling now of Albuquerque, New Mexico. What goes through his mind during a championship round? This is what he said.
Well, Bo, you know, Dell's singing songs, and Walter Ray's trying to hit targets. I'm thinking about bank loans and credit card vouchers. Seriously, you try to block everything out and just stay within yourself and make your shot. And if that happens, then we'll do all right.
And he was doing all right until now he's faced with the 4-7-10.
A little bit unlucky. He's been around the pocket the first 6 frames, and all of a sudden he goes just a pinch high, leaves him tough split. Here we go. He needs to get the ball in the 4-7 zone, drive that 4 into the 10. Needs to get this ball over here, drive that 4-pin into the 10. Tough shot.
Okay, we're in our semifinal game, and nearing the end of it as Norman Duke is now trailing by 6 against Del Ballard.
Here are 10 good reasons for you to shop at True Value hardware stores. If you come up with any others, we'll be here to help. You can do it with True Value hardware stores.
To show how Firestone Firehawk tires perform, we occasionally take some of them for a little weekend drive. At the toughest tracks across the country, we put our Firestone Firehawk street performance tires, including the same SB radials you can buy, to the test in racing. Over 1 million miles now, and still counting. Firestone, tires that meet the test.
Great weekend. Sure went fast.
One of bowling's all-time greats is your host as the game's high rollers head to New Jersey. It's the Johnny Petraglia Open on ABC's Pro Bowlers Tour next Saturday.
Intensity in the face of Del Ballard of Richardson, Texas. Leads by 6. 3 in a row, 7th frame.
Yes.
How did the ball stay on the deck?
Well, he's got so much spin towards the pocket, and really the center of the ball is not hanging out over the channel. Plus, it's a high surface friction area down there in the last 25 feet of the synthetic lane. So Ballard's using every bit of the lane. He's opened up a 16-pin lead, and he can throw those strikes. 8th frame.
Come on. Yeah.
A lot of incentive today, Nelson, for Del Ballard Jr.
Well, Della is obviously one of the top players, and he would like to reinforce himself as that, and rightfully so. He hasn't won in quite a while as Duke comes up, trailing by 26 in the 8th frame.
Another reason that his Texan roommate, Robert Lawrence, should Duke win today, would mean that Lawrence would be bumped from the Firestone. Duke would be in. Here are the money leaders. Ozio Williams, who was in that first match, then Mike Edwards, Bob Benoit, and John Mazza.
Now you have Norm Duke in a critical 9th frame. Must strike right here. All right, he's right back in the action. He has a potential 244. He's put it on Del Ballard Jr. 2 very, very tough seasoned Texans going at it in the semifinals. The right to meet Pete Weber. You got to keep striking in this situation. 9th frame.
Hook, hit, yeah!
Del Ballard.
Well, I think you really picked up on that. Ballard, being a good friend of Lawrence, eliminated him in the second match. But Lawrence, if Duke happens to win the tournament, knocks him out of the Firestone. So I think Lawrence is going to have to win himself as Duke contemplates what's happening, because there's a lot of matches left.
Yeah!
Del Ballard, as he did in the previous match when he eliminated his roommate, is stringing them here in the semifinal.
Mentioned at the top of the championship round, scoring had been down about 5 pins for the year of 1991. The scoring environment has definitely jumped up. The players are averaging 222 going into this match, and it's climbing.
Don't care.
Hitting a 2-4-8. Del Ballard getting a appreciative round of applause, and even from his opponent, Norm Duke.
Well, they played each other so many times, and he respects somebody who's inspired, such as Ballard seemed to be in the semifinal, but Duke has nothing to hold his head about. He bowled a really good game. He's kept every ball around the pocket.
So Del Ballard has defeated Norman Duke, and what a final match it will be. Two of the fiercest competitors in any sport, Pete Weber and Del Ballard. Here's the word now from our ABC station.
Why do fools fall in love? Why do opposites attract? Why do gentlemen prefer blondes? Why do women have all the answers? Why? Ask why? Dry. Cold filtered for smooth draft taste. Dry brewed for no aftertaste. Because if true love's not the answer, true refreshment must be.
Head and Shoulders for my serious dandruff? Blue is better. Extra medicated Selsun Blue.
With a medicine doctors recommend most. Medicine that relieves flaking better than Head and Shoulders.
Blue is better.
Selsun Blue, doctor recommended #1.
Red Devil Clear Polyurethane. You can always count on its durable finish. Harder than ordinary clear finishes, its beauty lasts and lasts. Red Devil Clear Polyurethane for the finish of a lifetime.
Sunday.
Go get him, boy.
Who is he?
Dead or alive, you are coming with me.
The ultimate cop is cleaning up the streets. RoboCop. Sunday. Parental discretion is advised.
4, here comes the Pro Golf Annual Balloon Sale. Your big chance to save 10 to 50% off Pro Golf's everyday low prices on everything, including balls, shoes, gloves, and hats. Save up to 50% on bags, golf wear. Save on putters, drivers, even that set you've been dreaming about. Wow, you only have from February 27th to March 3rd, so don't miss it. The balloon sale at Pro Golf.
Finally, the event you've been waiting for. The Greater Detroit Sport Fishing Expo. March 7th through the 10th at the Palace of Auburn Hills. Everything for the fishermen, including a spectacular array of rods, reels, and baits. Hundreds of completely equipped boats, from offshore blue water rigs to the newest and high-performance bass boats. It's Detroit's fishing extravaganza. Michigan's #1 sport fishing show. Get your tickets now. It's the Greater Detroit Sport Fishing Expo. March 7th through the 10th at the Palace of Auburn Hills. Don't miss it.
He rules the world of disorganized crime. Mob Boss, late night tonight. From TV1 in New York, Frank Gifford.
We'll return to the Fairlanes Open in just a moment. And coming up immediately following bowling on ABC's Wide World of Sports, undefeated and rising heavyweight star Riddick Bowe takes on Terrell Biggs in a 10-round heavyweight fight. You'll see it live. And we'll also have the beginning of our coverage of the Zeke Superstars and a report on the start of the Iditarod Trail sled dog race. College basketball this afternoon. 5th-ranked Indiana beat Wisconsin 74-61. Seton Hall over Boston College 81-74. And in overtime, Maryland over Virginia 78-74. Back to Chris Schenkel.
Okay, thank you, Frank. And 3 matches completed here in Maryland. Robert Lawrence defeating Walter Ray Williams 219-217, game 1. Second match, Del Ballard came out of the wings and defeated his roommate 247-208, Robert Lawrence. Then Norm Duke. Ballard 257, again 8 strikes, to Duke's 223. If there was ever a competitive match, it is between Pete Weber and Del Ballard for the title and $30,000 to the winner. Cool, collected Pete Weber. Always accepts pressure, but today, as the tournament leader and striving for the title, Bo, he has some added pressure on his shoulders.
Yes, he does, Chris. According to PBA officials, Pete Weber is appealing a 6-month suspension from professional bowling for conduct unbecoming a professional, a violation of PBA rules that he allegedly committed while on probation for previous rules violations. Weber has appealed to a 3-man appeals committee, which will rule on his suspension within the next 2 weeks. If his suspension is upheld, Weber can make a final appeal to the executive board of the PBA, which meets in late May. If that fails, he will be banned from professional bowling for at least 6 months. And Chris, Pete feels that the alleged infractions do not fit the penalty of 6 months, and we'll report on this matter after it's finally adjudicated.
Okay, and Pete Weber today going for his 16th. Look at this. He has led from the start. He's done it before in his career, which has spanned 12 years. Triple Crown winner. There he is, contemplating, and he knows that this man, Del Ballard, has had 2 big games, 247 and 257. Yeah. And opens with a powerful one. Pete Weber, 5'7", 135 pounds, 56th television appearance. His record in games, 59 wins, 39 losses, 217 average. Pete has won from every position.
He's got 4 titles from the #1 position, that stutter step, 5.5 step delivery, that high backswing, tremendous pivot step, the good follow through and extension. As good of natural talent as I've ever seen in the sport of bowling. Tournament leader, going for 2 in a row. Wow, tough break, the solid 9. We haven't seen too many of them this year, Chris, because the PBA has been putting a longer oil pattern down. The ball doesn't break quite as quickly, but we said on the synthetic lane surface, as you see the ball cutting the 5-pin right off the 9, synthetic lane surface, the last 15 feet, hook a little bit more. That's what caused the 9.
Last year, Pete's first visit to the Baltimore area, he was 3rd to Danny Weissman in winning at Woodlawn. Del Ballard, in his 3rd match, 2 victories today.
Wrinkle, wrinkle. Oh, yeah.
Both these players have international experience. Probably the most well documented by Del Ballard Jr. in 1988. He went over to the Summer Olympics in Seoul, Korea. Observed the Olympics bowling matches over there, ironically or surprisingly, won by a Korean. He says there's packed crowds in Korea.
Set up, set up. Do it bad. Jerked up on it.
He tagged himself that title.
You're right, Chris. He jerked up on the shot. He said it. We talked about it earlier. What he has to do is get the ball over in that 3-pin zone and drive it over in the 3-pin over in the 4-7 zone. We've seen similar combinations earlier today.
Down the lane.
He hurried that shot terribly. Terribly quick. Oh, just didn't take his time. A little upset.
Boy, a tremendous loss of wood. If he just gets 2 of these pins, he'd have had 4 more pins in the scoreboard. Instead of having 52 in the 3rd frame, he now has only 48. Pete Weber's right back in the match.
And we're given an opportunity like his father, Dick Weber. They jump on opportunities. Like you, Bo. You St. Louis folks are tough.
Thank you.
Well, let's describe, Pete describes his thoughts when he steps up on that approach. Here's what he said.
Well, in the championship round, when I'm sitting there just waiting to bowl, I'm not thinking about anything. That's the farthest thing from my mind is bowling. But when I get on the approach, all I think about is getting up, throwing a good shot, and making the best shot I know how.
And that was not one of them. 3-6-10.
Well, Pete, whether he wins or loses, we'll be heading back to St. Louis, Chris, and that's my hometown, and that's where you'll be heading tomorrow evening.
That's right. In fact, all of us are going there. Frank Esposito, Carol Letty, Larry Cam, for the 2nd Salute to Champions, honoring Marion Ladewig, Ike Herbert of Coca-Cola, and the ABC Sports president, Dennis Swanson. There it is. Beautiful spare. We needed it. Pete Weber leading by 12 pins in our championship match in Maryland. We'll be back.
Heartburn? You You know what to do about that.
But what if it's heartburn plus gas?
Well, now comes Tums Plus. Calcium-rich antacid relief plus gas-busting simethicone.
No other antacid gives you that.
No, sir. To get rid of heartburn plus gas, don't get caught minus. New Tums Plus.
Fact. For 10 years, Ford has had the best-built American cars and trucks. Fact. For 4 years, Ford has had the best-selling cars and trucks, American or import. Fact. Ford cars and trucks have more repeat buyers than anyone else, American or import. Call it leadership, call it winning, call it anything you want. The simple fact is, Ford is #1. Save during Leadership Month at your Ford dealer now.
You're looking at Texan Del Ballard, winner of 2 games, trailing by 12 against Pete Weber. Open frame, now shooting in the 4th. Nice comeback. Using all the lane, I might add. We're in Baltimore, home to Babe Ruth, as we documented at the beginning of our show. Edgar Allan Poe, H.L. Mencken, the author and journalist, American painter Rembrandt Peale, and our stage manager, Tom Gatewood. Twice All-American at Notre Dame, but more important, he was 3 times All-Academic All-American at Notre Dame. Played with the Giants, too. We like his hometown. We've come here often.
Ballard drifting high in the 5th frame after a strike in the 4th. Trails Pete Weber by 12 pins. You see the pin action here. Almost leaves the 4-6. 6 pin on the right-hand part of your screen being pushed out. Easy spare for Ballard, but he'll trail by 12.
Okay, now Pete Weber. Pete open with a strike, spare. Now shooting in the 5th frame.
Pete, the full approach, bowled his first 300 game when he was only 12 years old. I think a few younger, around the 11-year-old group, have done it since.
So there again, the 3-6-10.
Well, he converted that the previous frame on the left-hand lane. Pete cuts his hook down, uses about 22 miles an hour of speed across lane. Needs to get the ball just to the right of the 3. He'll remain in the lead with the conversion.
Just does come up. You know, Bo, as we look at Kim Schultheis, Pete's fiance, come to Baltimore, every time we look at Fort McHenry, we realize that she guarded Baltimore's harbor against the British, and that's where Francis Scott Key, a Baltimore lawyer, witnessed the bombardment of the fort, and he wondered if the flag was still there. This prompted him to pen the Star-Spangled Banner. And boy, we have a lot to be patriotic about after what's happened with our Commander-in-Chief, President George Bush, and General Schwarzkopf, and Neil, you name them.
Pete Weber a little bit queried about, or confused about what to do on the lane condition. He's going almost straight down and in. And the only thing Peter can do here is use his power, try to bounce the ball, bounce a pin out from the 4-7 zone, but he doesn't want to give up the pin carry. It's a tough shot.
Okay, so now Pete Weber trailing by 5, and Ballard, like Weber, when the door is open, they'll jump on it. 6th frame, Ballard. Like that. Coming up next on Wide World of Sports, a rising young heavyweight star named Riddick Bowe. Perfect record on the line against spoiler Terrell Biggs. Plus, the Jeep Superstars, directed by our director, Larry Kim. And how about a report on the start of the Iditarod Trail sled dog race? Wide World.
Big shot, 7th frame.
Gonna hook. Yes! The last moment, the 7 goes down.
All right, let's see if Weber can get on track. As you see Del Ballard playing that slightly inside line, just outside the second arrow, swinging it out to the edge, just ripping the rack apart. has put Weber behind by 15 pins. Pete just going to dig down now. The last 4 frames, give it all he's got.
He wanted that.
Plus, he made a very smart move. Pete moved farther left on the approach, slowed the ball down, and let it hook a lot more. He had been going what we call down and in, pretty straight at the pocket. The first 6 frames with no success, made the adjustment there, and he knows he needs strikes. Remember, Chris, he hasn't bowled a game under 200 all week long. A new record, 42 consecutive.
And he won 2 titles last year in his hometown of St. Louis and in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
This young man has averaged almost $4,000 for every week he's ever put on his shoes in a professional career. That is by far the highest per money rate per week. And right now he trails by 15 pins with just 3 frames left.
Young man that's earned $1,190,762. That strike came in the 8th frame. And with a double working and shooting in the 8th, Del Ballard leading by 15.
Come on, you can make better shots than that. Come on.
We talked about when we ran a replay of Del Ballard's style, the key to him is staying down at the line. When he raises up on that pivot step, he throws the ball high. He's done it a number of times today, and right here in the 8th frame, he raises up, gets a good break, and leaves only the 3-pin, but he opens the door for Pete Weber. And that's one of the really common habits a player has, even a pro, of raising up as they go into the slide step and the release step. A good tip is stay down and get a good long follow through and extension as Pete Weber contemplates the last 2 frames.
Yes. What a competitor. And Bo, would you say that General Powell and Secretary of Defense Cheney are competitors?
They play for keeps. These players are playing for a little money and a lot of fun and a great lifestyle, but our troops did such a wonderful job. I agree with you. I'm proud of all of them. Now Weber needs a strike here to put some pressure on and possibly win the match.
Now we have 4 pins separating these 2 champions. Pete Weber with 15 titles, Triple Crown. His opponent, Del Ballard, needs only 1 part, the PBA National, to be the 4th Triple Crown winner, Bo, and he's won 5 total and all big ones.
Yes, he is. That man knows how to win, but he's going against a proven winner with that mystique, the Weber mystique. He needs a strike here to take the lead.
Almost a move at the end of his run out like his father, Dick.
Well, Dick Weber was known for winning late in the matches, and Pete is coming from behind right now. He cannot shut out Del Ballard as Kim Schulteis looks on, Pete's fiancée. Weber can finish with 213. Ballard still has a potential 217.
Pete gave it his best shot. Here at the end, Bo, swinging 4. Wow.
Tell you, the top players today, and I have to credit all the fellows, especially in today's championship round, when they really need it, as they said, going for the wheat out here, have thrown the ball so well. Weber waited on that shot, made a great shot under pressure, and has now forced Ballard to get 2 strikes.
Cool, collected, tough, talented. Same can be said of Del Ballard. 2 strikes, and again, Bo, 7 pins?
That would take the title. Anything less, it's Weber's championship.
Yeah! We had this scenario earlier. It's been a great afternoon. We hope you've all enjoyed it.
You want it.
Robert Lawrence in the first match against Walter Ray Williams Jr. was in the same situation. Needed 2 strikes and a 7 count to win. He did just that. Now his roommate, Del Ballard Jr., needs a strike and 7 for all the money.
Come on! Yeah, baby! Get the ball!
Two Tigers on the approaches here at Fairlane's King Point.
I've never seen Del Ballard so charged up, so aggressive. And 7 pins is no gimme. We've seen when the players seem to miss, they get 7 or less, so it's not over yet.
Even Pete Weber got up. Look at Pete.
Look at this,
Feeling
Chris.
terrible
Never.
for his opponent.
What has happened? Ballard, needing 7 pins, has thrown in the channel and handed the title to Pete Weber. He has won when Ballard just needed 7 pins. What a turnaround. Here it is again, needing just 7 pins. Chris, in all the years we've sat here, we haven't seen a turnaround like that.
No, we haven't. And Pete Weber, who has been in a bowling family from day one with his great Hall of Fame dad, he knows exactly how the Texan Del Ballard, one of our favorites, feels as he immediately left the area, went to the locker room, and nevertheless, Pete Weber has won his 16th title, 213 to 207. All right. Here in Maryland, we're going to take a break and then to return and talk to Pete Weber.
Okay, we'll be going back to bowling in just a moment, but coming up next on ABC's Wide World of Sports, undefeated Riddick Bowe will take on Terrell Biggs in a 10-round heavyweight fight. Now, you'll watch that live from Atlantic City. We'll also have the beginning of our coverage of the Jeep Superstars featuring athletes from the NFL, and we'll have a report on the start of the Iditarod Trail Sled Dog Race. We'll return to Chris Schenkel right after this.
A lot of people can't wait until they retire. But I always liked my work. It worried me that when I turned 65, I'd have to leave. Rules are rules, and that was company policy. Then AARP helped get mandatory retirement eliminated. Now I can retire when I want to retire.
Bye, dear.
Not when someone else wants me to.
AARP, making a difference.
Good times with friends, hey, they're special. Sometimes you wish they would never end. The care you show is just special. Friends know when to say when.
The family of Budweiser beers is proud of all the friendships they've helped make. So when they remind you to please use a designated driver, it's all in the name of friendship.
Friends know when to say when.
Fact. The all-new Ford Escort is the best-selling small car in America. Fact. The new Escort has the highest owner satisfaction of any car in our history. Fact. Escort has more repeat buyers than any car in its class. Call it leadership. Call it winning. Call it anything you want. The simple fact is, Ford is #1. Save during Leadership Month at your Ford dealer now.
It's evening. It's morning.
Are you guys up yet?
It's the middle of the day. However you call, AT&T Reach Out America has a calling plan that can save you money. Now, nobody has more ways to save on long distance. No matter who, where, or when you call, it's Reach Out America. With savings and quality anytime, any place. It's not just long distance. It's AT&T.
And here in Maryland, that's the way they finished. Pete Weber winning his 16th title in 30,000. Del Ballard Jr., what a heartbreak, 15-5. Duke Lawrence and Walter Ray Williams Jr. And the final score, Pete Weber 213, Del Ballard 207. Can you believe it?
No, I can't, Chris. That's just unbelievable. I mean, I don't know what to say about it. Del doubled in the 10th to beat me. All he needed to do was get some pins, and I know the feeling of throwing the gutter ball on in a title match, but not for the win. And I feel so bad for Del. I really don't know what to say.
Well, I think our audience here ought to give Del a big round of applause. To make him feel better, I know it won't. But Pete, you know, you've been in bowling all your life with your family, and you were the first out of your chair in disbelief, and you were hurt too that happened to a great bowler.
Yes, I was. I mean, me and Del go way back, and I mean, we always have exciting matches, and it's a shame to see one of us do that, to lose a title or even to lose a match. It's just, I really don't know what to say for him.
Well, he'll become the 4th Triple Crown champion. I can vouch for that. He'll join you and Hardwick and Petraglia. Steve Carley, who's president of Fairlanes Incorporated and chief executive officer, has a beautiful trophy and a check. Steve?
I'll tell you, Pete, we at Fairlanes couldn't be happier to present you with this check for $30,000 as the champion of this year's Fairlanes Open. Congratulations.
Well, I know my mother's waiting on this check already at home, but...
Juanita?
Yes, of course. But I'd like to thank Steve and the Fairlanes Corporation for hosting our tournament for the 22nd consecutive year. A new, beautiful bowling center that they allowed us to bowl in, and I will be back again next year. I want to especially thank the scorekeepers for putting up with us this week, even though you guys were new at it. You guys did a fantastic job, and I just want to thank you, too. And the staff here at Fairlanes, Kings Point, was perfect.
Pete, always remember, when things get tough, the tough get great. Good going. Okay, Pete Weber and our heartfelt sympathy to Del Valor Jr. See you next week.
The Pro Bowlers Tour has been brought to you by Budweiser, the king of